Hi, I'm Elise Basso Cerniglia and Pete's sister. I've been on the fashion show since the beginning, 22 years, and I've had the honor of working with Mrs. Dolaway. I see Mrs. Dolaway as having two roles on the fashion show committee. She was somewhat of the mother of the bride as well as the CFO. Every year it was like planning a wedding. All the moms and the daughters were worked up about the fine details. And Mrs. Dolaway loved to add her personal touch and to elevate the program to make sure that it was elegant. We had the Tiffany's theme one year where she had the perfect powder blue boxes with the ribbons, and she always liked to just have everything perfect. Then there was the CFO, savvy businesswoman side of Mrs. Dolaway. She wanted to, after the results all came in, she wanted to make sure that we knew what worked, what did not work, and what we could do to improve the bottom line. I would bring my spreadsheets to the final meeting, and everybody was enjoying her lemon bars and her brownies. And here she's asking me a million questions about what we should do to make more money leading up to the evening, how much money we made the night of the evening, and really delving into the fine accounting numbers of the evening. The best part about working with Mrs. Dolaway all these years was that she made you feel like a family. She had the meetings in her home, she welcomed new members to the committee, and she kept all the people together from those days at Norwood. And when would I else have that opportunity to see her on a monthly basis, practically? So we're very fortunate to have had her contribute her talents, and I'm so honored that I got the chance to know her as a friend.
I am Alice Ann Basso. I am Pete's mom. And 23 years ago, we lost our son Peter to cancer. It was a dark, dark day. But they say in the times of grief and sorrow, you look for a path, you look for a light. Jeanne Dolaway was our light.
My name is Mary Daly, and I've been involved in Pete's Sake since the very beginning, when we had our first fashion show, and I've hung in there since. I've known many of these gals from our Norwood Fun days where our kids went to school together, and I've enjoyed my relationship with them.
Met Mrs. Dolaway years and years ago. Her son Kirk was in my class at Norwood Fun. Her daughter Christy was in class with Peter. So when I was very little, she was the mom who was always around.
I am Mary Ann. I am one of the program coordinators for Pete's Sake Cancer Respite Foundation. And I am also Marcy's mom, and I was Peter's mother-in-law. So getting back to talking exactly about Jeanne, my perspective of knowing Jeanne was basically from the For Pete's Sake office. So I'm going to say a few things. Jeanne, Jeanne. Jeanne was joyful. Jeanne was empowering. Jeanne was amicable. Jeanne was nifty and nostalgic. And Jeanne was enthusiastic.
I'm Rosemary Stout. I was Rosemary Garino way back in first grade when I met Jeannie McNally, who is now Jeanne Dolaway. And we went to Sicilian Academy together and rode in the nun's car, driven by an Irish chauffeur. And they picked us up for school in the morning with Sister Miriam Carmel riding in the back seat and us sitting on her lap. Very, very safe.
Hello, my name is Marcy Shankwaller, and I'm the founder and CEO of For Pete's Sake Cancer Respite Foundation. This was Pete's vision. It was a bold vision. I don't think any of us knew what to expect when he gave us that order. But Jeanne took his vision and made it part of her mantra. And it became part of not only her mantra, but her entire family. She engaged, everyone around her to be a part of For Pete's Sake.
I felt in the first meeting, she didn't just show up, she spoke up. She was the one who asked the questions. She was the one who, I think, pushed us to think outside the box. She helped us not only get the logistics down, but do things that are going to really help get the message out. She was always standing up in the meetings, asking the questions, and I admired her. I admired her not only for her thoughts to support what we were doing, but sometimes she spoke up and questioned if this was the right thing to do.
Jeannie, you were right there from the very beginning, working closely with Pete's mom, Alice Ann, and with your longtime friend, Rosemary Stout, because you understood the importance of respite for cancer patients and their families, and it was a dream that you were helping to fulfill.
She was always very positive. There was nothing, she was so nifty that she could get around any problem.
As everybody knows, Jeannie was a little person, but her heart was enormous. And her heart included For Pete's Sake in her obituary. She said, in lieu of flowers and funds to For Pete's Sake. And I know that she is up there right now, smiling down at us, saying, well done.
Jeanne Dolaway was a little dynamo. She could be feisty, and she could be the person you cried on her shoulder. She could be innovative, and yet she loved the old-fashioned everything. So she kind of had it wrapped together, that we understood each other so well, and we loved working for the same cause.
So Jeannie was a force to be reckoned with. She took that vision, and I can remember just providing so much love to Alice Ann after she lost her son, and really encouraging Alice Ann to say, yes, we're going to do this fashion show. This is how it's going to roll. I got you.
She always was thinking. She was very creative. I think Jeannie was the creative piece to our committee. She was always thinking outside the box, bringing in fresh ideas to our meetings.
I think in many ways she was the glue that kept, besides Alice Ann and people's love for Alice Ann, I think she was the glue that kept the group together. 23 years is a long time to have a fashion show.
And she was a very purposeful woman. She had, she knew her direction and she knew her job, and she worked hard at it. And as a result, I think you can see her own family is a very purposeful, energetic, compassionate, and life-giving family. And she has done her role here for many, many people. And I had the pleasure of knowing her, and that was a blessing.
She showed us that what Peter dreamed could be a reality. Peter said, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, Mom, but I want this respite for other young cancer patients. Jeannie got it. And right after Peter died, it was only months after he died, the fashion show was created, and it was kind of created out of nothing. But Jeannie was there.
I think her pure heart and her simplicity, in spite of the material blessings that she enjoyed, she was still very down to earth, very generous, very kind, and not boastful. She was almost like Paul writes in Corinthians what love is.
We were in it together, and she always had what we would think maybe were cockamamie ideas, but they always worked out. And so my little Jeannie, I totally miss her, and I credit her with so many innovations for Pete's Sake.
I always think of Mrs. Dolaway was that one friend who was there after my brother passed, who helped make this work. And I think Mrs. Dolaway was a good friend to my mom and my dad, and she helped really our whole family get behind this foundation and work hard.
And Jeannie loved her family. Jeannie loved For Pete's Sake. But more so, Jeannie loved all of her good friends that headed this fashion show and started this whole event to make money to help cancer patients go on a respite. to reconnect emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
And I guess if I was to describe Jeannie to anybody, I would say Jeannie showed me the power of one woman. She showed me how to do it and laugh.
To Jeannie up in heaven, who's probably right now dancing with Pete, thank you. Thank you for being an inspiring person. Thank you for making an impact on the lives of so many. And you have our commitment that we will continue to follow in your footsteps, bringing hope to families facing cancer.